670, bro.
That's Friday.
Must be my bro, Brad Rosala. We're going to be, I'm sure.
Because you're on his show?
I'm on his show
and
now,
he's
right?
on your show.
Wow, this is amazing, the technology. Brad Rosala checking in from CNMI. Buenos and Hapa Brad.
Buenos and Hapa Ray. And Joe, good to hear you guys.
But it's good to be online and sharing. And on behalf of the people of Guam, I do want to send up our condolences for the passing of Governor Palacios here. We were, all of us, in the stories that were unfolding last night, looking for a different outcome. We'd heard that he was on his way to medical treatment here on Guam and was in high spirits, according to the soon-to-be governor of the CNMI after everything is all done and the swearing in. And unfortunately, an untimely outcome and the passing of your governor. Please accept our condolences here on Guam.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Ray. I mean, it just really kind of sucks. Now, he was a friend to a lot of people, a mentor to a lot of folks, and genuinely cared for the Commonwealth. Coming in at a tough time with the state of our economy and everything, and this is the second time in just a handful of years when we saw him collapse and be whisked away off island for emergency medical treatment. And we hoped that it would have had a better outcome than it did.
Yeah. So Guam is a small town, Saipan a much smaller town, and very, very personal politics. And if you don't mind, I'd like you to share maybe one of your personal experiences with the governor before he had passed away. Something that give the people of Guam who might not have known him very well a better sense of who this gentleman was.
The main thing, he was a real down-to-earth guy, just a regular guy's guy. Ray, if you got to know him, you would have genuinely liked him. I'll tell you, so I was doing some work for him when he was the lieutenant governor, and he was starting to consider running for governor before the last general election. And, when he collapsed, I got to get in the emergency room and talk to him. This is, again, like 4 years ago almost now. Excuse me. And then he got taken away off island for his health stuff, and then I had to go off island to do stuff, but we're still trying to talk about communications, how we're going to do stuff. And one of the funniest, and it was a good conversation because we were talking about things, and I said, how are you doing? He's like, boy, I tell you, I feel great. I haven't had a cigarette in like 3 weeks. And I'm like, oh, all right, we're going to have a great conversation, and just like him having that kind of a conversation, sending messages. He heard about my dad not doing all that great and would just reach out. He's you have to get to know him. I mean, like a lot of folks did know him here for sure. He's got a great family, very family oriented, and he would bring that with him wherever we went. But you would know where you stand with him. That was one of the things. Like when I say like a guy's guy, he's a regular guy. I know everybody's got some politics and everybody holds their cards close sometimes and everything. But he would tell you, he'd be like, WTF, man. Only he wouldn't give you the letters, and you could tell like he would flex it when he needed it and he wouldn't when he didn't. He starts off with that smile, that shaking the hands. Here's another one. He was coming into our show one day, and we had a miscommunication between his communications team and I. So I'm messaging as we're getting closer to the start of when he's supposed to be here. I'm like, "Are you guys on the way?" They're like, "Oh no, we thought you're coming here." I'm like, but you're such a big get for my show. I'm like, wait a minute. And so then, they're like, well, all right, can you make it up here? I'm like, well, yeah. And then I got a call back right away, and the governor's communication team's like, the governor said he's coming there. We're on our way. I'm like, oh, holy crap. Now check this out. He wasn't already doing like cartwheels and sprinting around town anyway. I'm on the 3rd floor. And I got messages from a couple people. Does the governor know that you're on the 3rd floor? Because he's got to get up there. I'm like, yeah. And then he came up here, and for me, that was a really big deal because one, he's coming here. when does a governor change on a dime like that when he's setting up thinking that you got your interview there and he didn't want to let me down? I mean, that's just one tiny little story. You're asking for my stuff. I got to see him move mountains for people when things needed to happen. Get to see him appreciate his staff and his team. You hear the words that he said. I'm sad that we lost him. The only thing, if I'm looking for a silver lining to this, is that it was starting to get into this campaign season and the time, and people start talking about, the negative aspects of their prospective opponents.
Politics your politics up there are absolutely brutal.
I think it's kind of common. I mean, I think it's a little bit everywhere, but at least now, all those people who would be having that kind of a conversation now can be free of having to be weighed down in that stuff, and they could talk about the good stuff. The family man, the friend, the statesman, the public servant for decades here in the CNMI. Is anybody perfect? Of course not, right? But he's just a good guy, and everybody who got close to him knows what we lost in our governor, and it just kind of sucks.
And it's still fresh. Everything that we're talking about here with regards to this story happened just as I was getting close to pillow last night, and it started with a story about the medical incident that occurred, and he was on his way medevac to Guam, and I woke up this morning to news that he had passed away overnight, and that steps were already being taken with the acting Governor Apatang to take on the mantle of the governorship of the CNMI. My understanding is that Senate President Dennis Mendiola is going to become the next lieutenant governor of the CNMI. All of those things in motion. What's the timeline? What's the schedule?
Well, the swearing in is going to be today in about an hour. So, like, even my show today is going to be abbreviated because I'm going to, after we wrap up with our call, I got one more quick call, and then we're going to head up to the governor's office in the conference room. Lieutenant Governor Apatang becomes the governor, and Senate President Mendiola becomes the lieutenant governor. And it, sad to say, this just happened 11 years ago. In 2014 when we lost Governor Enos, and that's when we did lose Governor Enos back then, but even before that, when Governor Fitiel resigned, Governor Enos became the governor, and Senate President then, Jude Hofschneider, became the lieutenant governor. Then we lose Governor Enos, then Lieutenant Governor Torres became the governor, and I think we had Victor Hukuk became the lieutenant governor for a bit before they switched hands. So, man,
you have been up there a long time, Brad. The conversation about the passing of the governor of the CNMI, obviously never a good time for that. But given the nature of the economy, the state of things in the CNMI, we're going to need to have soon-to-be Governor Apatang take the helm and have a steady hand over the ship of state moving forward.
And it's fortunate that we have someone with that kind of experience. Lieutenant Governor, our acting governor, and about to be sworn in Governor Apatang, is a seasoned statesman. He's been a public servant for decades as well. He served as our mayor for 2 terms, and he was a legislator here as well. And so he's a steady hand. A lot of people look to him anyway. A lot of people look to him for his support and his strength when he talks. Whenever they have public engagements, he puts a lot of effort into his speeches as well. And he's really an active partner with our former governor. So I don't know that we're going to lose anything aside from, as far as like a leadership void or something. So at least we have that going for us if there's something we can look to.
Well, obviously, we send our condolences, and if there's anything, obviously, that I can do, that we can do, then by all means, all you need to do is reach out and touch us. I'm going to go from this conversation to a conversation with Simon Sanchez, who spends time up in the NMI on a regular basis, helping out your utilities, and so we'll get his grind on the situation. I again want to pass along the condolences from all of us here on Guam, and best wishes and our hopes for the future of the CNMI.
Hey, thanks, Ray. I know we normally have more upbeat phone calls, and you just can't fake it.
Yeah. Well, you keep doing what you're doing up in the NMI, because people have got stories about the governor, and they're going to want a platform to tell those stories on. So stay on the air as long as you can today, and then maybe there's people that can call in or write into you and let them know about the time that they were over at Herman's Bakery and the governor bought them their own bread or something like that. There's going to be stories like that that the family is going to definitely want to hear and catalog. So you be the vehicle for all that. All right.
I hear you, Ray.
All right, man. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Brad Rosella up in Saipan, down there.
All right, so that's Ray Gibson over there in Guam. He's got a radio show on a station called The Point. He's awesome. He's just a good guy. He's someone that, I'm lucky I got to know him for, at least 20 years now, I feel like.